Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. The ZANU-PF government is debating amending the constitution. I think two key points they're trying to achieve with this amendment is the number one is to extend the term of office of the president and parliament from 5 years to 7 years. I've discussed this aspect in an earlier video, which you can refer to. The second aspect they're trying to achieve, key aspect they're trying to achieve, is to insulate the regime from another coup, a repeat of the 2017 military coup. It is no secret that Mnangagwa has fallen out with his colleagues who together staged the military coup of 2017. It was an open secret that after the military coup of 2017, he had agreed that he will serve one term and then hand over to his vice president, Chiwenga, who was the army commander at the time of the coup. His reward for staging the coup. But within a few months, it was rumored that Mnangagwa was thinking of extending his stay in office beyond 2023. And this made him fall out with the army. And ever since, there have been two factions. I think the army faction backing Chiwenga accepted Mnangagwa staying on to serve another term. The matter has come to a head when it became clear that Mnangagwa wanted to extend his stay in office beyond 2028. And hence this ED 2030 agenda coming up. I think the division within the ZANU-PF ruling party, if there'd been a crack that developed to a chasm. And Mnangagwa and his colleagues went full steam ahead, pushing the ED 2030 agenda. And meanwhile, Chiwenga and his supporters too went full steam ahead, resisting it. At the beginning of 2025, when the late Blessed Geza dismissed the ED 2030 as bullshit. He made it clear that he wanted Mnangagwa to go so that Chiwenga could take over. We have since learned from many other goings on within SANU-PF that the division between Mnangagwa's faction and the faction supporting Chiwenga has become more and more serious. As much as the 2017 military coup both Mnangagwa, Chiwenga, and everybody realized that that was illegal. But soon after the coup, before even Mnangagwa was sworn in, they sought to sanitize the military coup. And what they did was simple. They got somebody to file a charge, the challenge of the military coup. And High Court Judge George Chiweshe presided over the case. And he ruled that the military coup was necessary, justified, and constitutional. That opened a Pandora's box. The genie was out of the bottle. Because that ruling said the army could stage a coup to remove the government of the day. They needed it. They are the ones who had staged that military coup. So they were just only legalizing their own actions. That's all very well. But now Mnangagwa finds himself in a situation where he has fallen out with the army. As much as he has tried to change the leadership of the army, he cannot be 100% confident that he has managed to achieve that. So this constitutional amendment that is being debated that was debated by the SANU-PF cabinet, and it's going to be tabled in Parliament. One of the big things that they hope to achieve is to end the precedents that they had set in 2017. I am not a lawyer, but I can tell you that constitution never said it was constitutional for the army to stage a coup. No constitution could ever allow that kind of nonsense. And they knew it. George Chiweshe was only speaking on behalf of the coup leaders. But having set that precedence, they now found themselves in a situation where it could happen again. The amendment, apparently, is going to amend the present constitution and replace the phrase to uphold the constitution. The government also plans to amend the functions of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, replacing their duty to uphold this constitution with the wording requiring them to act in accordance with the constitution. I'm not a lawyer, but I can tell you that the swapping of one phrase for another, if it was constitutional to stage a coup to uphold the constitution, it will also be constitutional to stage a coup in acting in accordance with the constitution. No amount of tampering, in this case, is permissible. They were not upholding the constitution when they staged the coup. That is a fact. And indeed, the army failed to uphold the constitution when they let ZANU-PF blatantly rig the elections. When was it constitutional to rig elections? And yet the army, all these years, have turned a blind eye to it. I think what we are looking at here is that if the army truly want to stage another coup, if it was legal, necessary, and justified and constitutional to do so in 2017, then it is justified, legal, and constitutional to do it now. More so now, when clearly this government, this regime, this Mnangagwa administration is seeking to violate everything, even common sense in the present constitution. Common sense dictates that you are elected for a fixed maximum term. In this case, 5 years. It does not make any sense for those who are elected. Once elected, they then sit down and decide that they are going to extend their stay in office by 2 years. That doesn't make any sense at all. That is a blatant violation of the Constitution. They could have extended it by another 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, forever. I think there's no doubt that what Mnangagwa is proposing to do with this amendment is the most blatant violation of the Constitution with far-reaching consequences. If those who are elected into office can decide to extend their stay in office without reference to the people, we cannot pretend that the Constitution still has any value. This Constitution clearly says the people must have a meaningful say in the government of the country. That is at the heart of the Constitution. What Mnangagwa is proposing with this amendment is saying that the people have had their say. Now it is for him and his elected officials to do as they please. Ziyambi maintains that the proposed amendments will reinforce the constitutional governance, strengthen democratic structures, clarify institutional mandates, and harmonize Zimbabwe's constitutional order with the tested and successful practices in other progressive countries. This is all nonsense. Those countries like South Africa, where the people do not elect the president. The president is elected by members of the party that has won the elections. That they had in their constitution. This was not something that people did not know. When they voted for that constitution, it was already there in the constitution. So for Zimbabwe to say we are being progressive, we are copying what other countries are doing, you are abandoning your constitution to act like another country's constitution without the people having a meaningful say in that. The people of Zimbabwe have never had a meaningful say in that. If we're going to change the constitution, then we need to go to the referendum. If you're going to change the constitution and deny the people a meaningful say in a referendum, then that is the most blatant violation of the constitution. And the army, if it was justified, legal, and constitutional to stage a military coup against the Mugabe administration, then it is justified, legal, and constitutional to stage a military coup against this Mnangagwa administration. Think about it.